Alright guys, so we're going to just move on to our next one here. Sorry it's a little bit rushed, but we want to get everybody in because they've all got great knowledge shared. Thank you Shelly very much for sharing all that LinkedIn knowledge with us. So next up we have John Ribeiro. Funny enough, him and I were at an event a few weeks ago and I didn't even run into him, so kind of crazy that he's here tonight. So John's an international and award-winning speaker, a certified speaking coach, a workshop facilitator. He also is an author and has co-author of Zero to Hire, and he has started a speaker series in Bonn called Fearless Voices. With that being said, here's John.
Wow. What do you guys think so far? Woo! Brian, Turnham, let's round of applause for them for organizing this special event. And for all the volunteers, it takes a lot of work to put something like this together. Let's hear it for them as well. So today I get the opportunity to share my story with you. Are you guys okay with that? All right, so LinkedIn. I'm going to age myself a little bit. So I went back in my profile today and I looked at when I actually joined LinkedIn. Any guesses? Who's been on LinkedIn for a year?
For a year?
More than a year. Okay, more than 3 years. More than 5 years. More than 10 years. Wow. When I looked at my profile, I joined in 2006. Yeah, the internet wasn't very much at that time. And neither was LinkedIn. LinkedIn was just a place where you put up your work experience. But for me, you know, I've worked in a large organization for a very, very long time. Very long time. And in 2009, my job was outsourced. Has anybody been through a situation like that? It's tough. And what I learned is it's all about relationships and connections. And I got lucky. In 2015, the job that they outsourced, they gave me back, which is really neat. And in that process, what I ended up learning was about LinkedIn. So I had neglected LinkedIn for such a long time. But I got back on the platform. And through the process, I was learning how to share my thoughts, ideas. I was doing articles, I was doing posts, and it fizzled again. And really, my love for LinkedIn, I'm going to say love, started this May. I got introduced to Shelly. I went to one of her workshops. It's a plug for one of your workshops. You got to check it out. But it essentially changed my life. And I'll tell you why. Because I use LinkedIn in a variety of different ways. I use it as an employee. I use it as an entrepreneur. And I use it as somebody who's promoting a book who teaches people how to find work. And in my book, I know Brian touched on it really quick, it's called Zero to Hire, with my co-author, Connell Valentine. He's at the back. Stand up, say hi. So Connell Valentine is a brand new Canadian. He's only been here 2 years. And in the 2 years, within 2 weeks of landing in Canada, he had a job. He had a job with me. And we sat down and we got to share our experiences together. He told me what he did. I told him I had this outline for a book because I was outsourced. And in my outsourcing experience, what ended up happening is my team were all told they were going to lose a job. I had 25 people on my team, people with mortgages, people with kids, people with brand new lives that they were just starting. And in a 6-month period, we got every single person ready. We got them ready to go out there, ready to be the most confident person that they could be in front of a hiring manager. And in September, when they were told it's your last day, they all had jobs to go to. It was pretty cool. And we were the only group out of all the people that were being outsourced that all had jobs, 100%. So funny enough, 2015, they bring it back, they tell me, hey, you got to go build a brand new team. You need to hire 35 people. And you can do it any way you want, any single way you want. So I had fun with it. And I hired people I liked at first. Maybe that wasn't the best decision. But then I actually started hiring people with skills, like ability. I started hiring people on talent. I started hiring people on fit. And really, this is a lot of what you see today. When you apply for a role, it's not just your experience and skills. It's how you fit into the team and into the organization, your values, your culture, everything. So Connell and I, we sat down and we put this together. We put his experience of how he got a job in Canada in 2 weeks, and I took my almost 20 years of experience in management, combined it into a single book. And in the book, we talk about LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is more than just your online resume. This is what I learned from Shelley. It's not just an online resume. It's where you get to tell your story. It's where you get to tell your brand. It's where people get to learn how to have a conversation with you. From the last study I read, 78% of recruiters are looking at LinkedIn today to find out who you are. And a total of 98% are looking at LinkedIn and also recruiting from LinkedIn. It's a crazy statistic. This is where people are going to look for work. Who is not on LinkedIn? There's one person. Oh, I gotta call her out. But she's going to be on LinkedIn after today. Yeah. So this is the power of LinkedIn. It's where you get to tell your story. It's where you get to make your connections. And what's really neat is on the flip side, as somebody who's going out there looking for work and having conversations, how do you learn about the person that's interviewing you? How do you get your in? How do you make an instant connection? You learn about them. And this is what I've learned through LinkedIn. I've made so many wonderful connections through this whole year. I think this year I started off at 500 connections. I'm close to 2,000. And it's really about sharing stories, likes. I started with likes initially. Yeah, true confession. I started with likes. I started commenting on posts. I write my own content. And I connect with influential people. And actually just a couple of weeks ago, I reached out to Premier Trudeau. He hasn't accepted yet, but I'm hoping.
So if you try now, so you can wait.
Oh, okay, I'll wait a little bit. But what I've found with LinkedIn is it's a place where you get to know people without really knowing them. So I walked in the room today, Taranum. I didn't meet her in person, but I knew a little bit about her because I went through her profile. I learned about her stories, I knew about her values. I knew that this is the type of person I want to stay connected with. And this is really the power of LinkedIn, to really get to know people before you can know them. And doesn't that give you a leg up and an advantage when you're in the room with somebody? Yeah, don't you want that? Especially if you're going through the interview process today, don't you want to know that you can have an in with somebody on a conversation? My co-author, he just got promoted into another job. And he did his research online. He went, looked at the hiring person, looked at what they were interested in, looked at how their career progressed, and he was able to bring that into the conversation. And it's what gave him the advantage over other people that were looking for the same work. LinkedIn is so powerful. It's crazy, and don't tell my wife, but I wake up with Shelley every morning as well. I know, it's the first thing that shows up in my feed, it's so bad. But LinkedIn also has the power to take you offline. LinkedIn is not just an online tool. I make a lot of connections with people on LinkedIn, and then I have conversations with them. But I always start off with a 15-minute conversation. Can we just chat? One of my biggest mentors that I've worked with over the last year started because she was doing exactly what I wanted to do. I saw all the things that were going on in her activities, and I said, you know, I need an in. How do I get into a conversation with her? She had gone to a conference where she met Steve Wozniak, and I said, hey, can I talk to you for 15 minutes about Steve Wozniak? She's like, yeah, no problem. And from that, I developed a one-year mentorship program with her. These are all things that are right here at your fingertips that you just need to go out and do. It doesn't take a lot of work. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Daisy, who's been a big mentor to me as well over the last year. And she is the reason why I'm here today. Online and offline, she's been my mentor. And thank you, Daisy, for this opportunity. So I know I'm supposed to open this up for questions. I don't want to be talking forever. Does anybody have questions?
We'll take just one question before Manu goes up.
All right, one question, one question.
Does anybody have one question for the presenter?
There you go.
Sure.
Yeah. So I have a compounded question.
A compounded question? It sounds like 3 questions.
So let's talk of commoners. I consider you guys are really popular on LinkedIn. You have billions of followers like Tarantum has, like half of the Canadian.
I thought just around 5,000 or so.
Yes.
Oh, I'm not. Yeah.
So let's talk about commoners, the newcomers.
Okay.
You say that post something which is really interesting. I post something, I have no views on it.
Tag John.
So yeah, tag me, yeah.
1,500 people in my network. But what my site says that nobody read it, or out of 1,800, 5 people liked it because they think that I can give them a job.
Okay, so I'm going to start with just one thing, and it's patience. Right? So Rome wasn't built in a night. It takes time. Right? So even today, now when I do a post, I get 2, 3, 4, 5,000 views, depending on who's in my post. Take, like Shelly said, take photos with other influencers. I took a photo with Manu just 2 weeks ago, and I got a lot of views on that post, right? So connect with influencers to let people know who you are and what you're about. And align with people who are aligned with your values as well. So don't just do it for the sake of taking a photo with somebody. Take a photo with somebody because you believe in what they're saying and it's aligned with who you are. And that's how you slowly start to build up your influence, from my perspective. I'm still not where Shelly and Manu are just yet, but I'm getting there. And I know that if I continue doing the work, I'll get there.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, I got a gift card.
You wanted to keep it. You wanted to keep it.
You know what, I really do need a nanny right now. So. But one question. When was my job outsourced?
2009.
All right, 2009, right here. You're getting a manicure, buddy. Come up.
You want to get?
Perfect. Thanks a lot, John. Again, another great informative talk, and hopefully again, people are going to learn a little more about LinkedIn.
Right here, sir.
Brian.
Right here.
Sorry.
Picture.
Over here.
Right here. Thank you.
All right.